Hello. Nice, nice. Hello. Yes, yes, yes. People are tuning in. So much fun. Yeah, so let's wait a few minutes till everyone come on board. All right, so welcome everyone to this first Alchemy Training Session. I've started this project of doing free trainings because I think it's very, very important in the time we're living now to really, really tap into all our abilities, to all our powers that are available out there. I cannot just sit and hold them for myself. I need to share everything that I know and help you to attune into those frequencies so you can start to share it with the world, so we can get a snowball effect and start to create this new world that we want to have. So today I want to dive deep into the understanding of our mind. Mind is always an interesting object to work with. And I can see Maria is smiling. She likes the mind. So I'm very happy to see you guys here. And this is not just me talking. This is something that I wanted to create so you can also participate. You know, if you want to talk, if you want to write something in the comments that I can talk about, then we can do that as well. So if anyone has anything that's on mind that you want to like release, talk about, be guided with, you can just write it in the chat or just ask to speak and we can go through it, because that is something that we need to work with if there is something that's on the mind. And this is something that we can understand when we start to work with the mind, is that sometimes we have a thought or we have something that is there all the time. It's coming one day, maybe take a break one day, and it's coming back and it's there. And we like, why is this thing here? And sometimes it's because we need to, that is the mind telling you, hey man, hey woman, this is something that you need to take care of. This is something that you need to start to work with. So sometimes the mind is like a friend also, knocking you a little bit from the unconscious, subconscious mind, telling you, hey, we have an issue here that you need to take care of. And that issue is almost often the thing that we procrastinate things. We say that, oh, let's do it in the future. Let's do it in 3 months, in 6 months, I will be ready. Nice to see you, Ian. I saw you put your hands up. Happy to see you here, brother. So sometimes when we get in conflict with people, this is a very common thing that is happening. It is that, oh, no, I don't want to call this person now because it becomes a little bit hard to do that. So maybe I do it tomorrow when I feel better, or maybe in the coming week, it's a better idea to go into this. So this is something we can learn is when we tap in, because I want to tell you something here is that we are working in a certain speed. Our consciousness is working in the speed of 33 meters per second. Okay, this is how our Kundalini, the speed of our Kundalini. But if we go to the cosmic Kundalini, if we do this micro to macro, the macro cosmic Kundalini is moving in the speed of light. This is the speed that you can operate in. Okay, but if you are in this slow, dull mind, you're also creating in a very slow speed. And things are happening in a very, very slow speed. So this is a very interesting thing to understand, that we can tap in to source. We can tap in to the field of God. It's reachable for each and one of us all the time. But as we are programmed, we are filled up with ideas, thoughts, behavior patterns, fears. We have doubts that we don't believe that it's possible, right? We have so many things that we want to do, the life we want to live, and so on, but we're not tapping into it. And this is because of this programming is very, very slow. And we can have a look in the world, this old school system, this old system of the banks, of, having weekends and, all these things. It's a slow, slow energy. So what we have to do is we have to purify our consciousness and tap into this field of unlimited possibilities. And when we do this, we are operating in a higher speed. So mind can be very dull, very slow. It can be very hyperactive. It can be distractive. Those are like the three main states of the mind, right? Let's say that you are losing your job, right? And what happened? The mind goes into this hyperactive state, like, what should happen? Where should the money come from? And all this. But someone who are operating in a pure conscious state, in a very balanced mind, which we can also call a yogic mind, you see this like, okay, it happens. It's in the past now. What's waiting for me in the future? Maybe this release of the old behavior was something that's going to open up a new possibility for me, a new way of seeing things, a new way of seeing life. There is a saying like, if we get rid of something, 5 new things comes to us. So sometimes when we release and leave things, new things are coming our way. And I can take myself, for example. Since 2017, I have been holding classes and workshops in Sweden, like on a regular basis, almost every month for all those years. But I did not see that this was also for me, where I am, a safety zone of doing things that were easy for me to arrange, easy to do. People like it. I can go to Gothenburg, Malmö, Stockholm, and people come, So one day I just got this vision that I'm done with this. Now it's time to move to something else. And then I just quit. I told myself, like, this will be the last time I will do courses like this. And what happened in a few days was that this was a big shift both in energy of new people coming to me, also a new shift in financial, And also a new shift in a new opportunity that just came into us. A woman bought a house to us in Spain where we can have our own place for doing and hosting retreats. So I know everything have a plan, right? Everything has a destiny. So somewhere in me, I had this subconsciously knowing that something is going to happen. I need to quit this old behavior, this old pattern, and tap into something new. And as I did, a huge amount of speed happened. In a few days, we manifested this retreat place, which we have been waiting for many, many, many years. And it's happened in a few days. 700,000 euros she spent for this place, for us to live in and to hold space for people and do what we are here to do. So this is something that is very interesting for you to notice, is that have a look in everything that you do in life and see how many things are you doing and have been done for a very, very long time. The same pattern. Some of you have been working in the same job for 20 years, same working spot, same colleagues. But as you quit this and you start to do something else, you can see so many opportunities shows up, so many new people you can meet. You can talk. Sometimes I talk to my mom. She have lived in the same town that she was born in. She working in the school, in the same school that I was going to when I was a child. She's in this same old. So when me and my family now, we are moving around, she get a headache because she's like, oh my God, can't you guys just stabilize yourself and just be in one spot, to really calm me down? I say, I'm calm. I'm enjoying life. Don't worry. We have new opportunities coming. And she asked me, why, have you decided to take this house? I'm like, there's like nothing to decide. It's even if we say no, we will be dragged there to be in this place, right? So what we have to understand is that we have a destiny and we have to tune in. And the more we tune in to our Dharma, which is in the heart, the higher the speed. Okay, so everything is speed in this, what I'm talking about now. So when we can speed up, this means that the consciousness is very pure and there is very, very few thoughts in mind. And when there are very, very few thoughts in mind, you can tap into a higher speed of manifestation. Can you understand this? Okay, very good. So what do we have to do? We have to do some kind of practice to erase what is slowing down the process. And we do this, the major thing is meditation. So it's very important that we practice meditation every day. So what I will tell you now will save you 20 to 40 years in meditation. So most people have a lot of breaths. The normal person have between 23 to 25,000 breaths every 24 hours. But as we start to practice meditation in this way, we can slow down the breathing to 7 or less breathings per minute. And when we do this, we automatically calm down the mind. So what we have to understand is that mind and the breath goes together. Okay? So what we think, how we breathe, it connects. Remember the last time you were anxious about something or some kind of fear popped out? The breathing. You cannot breathe from the stomach in that moment, right? It's very hard to connect with the stomach, to the breath at that moment. You are up here. Hyper breathe, right? So we have to learn to breathe and always breathe from the navel. Why from the navel? Because navel center is where all prana, and prana is chi and life force energy, is generated in the navel center. So all spiritual practice we do in form of pranayamas, in form of asanas, if we do physical exercises, all energy that we do on the upper part goes down to the navel center and then out in the whole body. All exercise we do, like from the navel and down, it goes up to the navel and then it's generated out into the body. You have over 7 million nadis in the body. Nadis are energy circuits, small points of energy. So when prana is generated, it moves out into all those nadis. And those nadis carries energy and information further on into the whole body. So when we learn to complete our energy, the energy goes all around all the time. But when there are blockages, and blockages can come in form of traumas that we go through, emotional issues, things that happen to us mentally and physically. This causes blockages in the energy in our system. Okay? So what we have to understand also is that the air element is connected to the heart and the chest. Okay? So now when we are moving into this period after the summer, the air element gets activated in nature. Okay? And when air element gets activated in nature, it means there is more activation in mind. So people who are very anxious people, who have an easy approach to become anxious, they often have a stomach that is very worried. So the worry in the stomach goes together with the anxiety. And this is in Ayurveda, it's called a vata imbalance. And it has to do with the air element. Okay? And the air element is also connected to our bone marrow. When we eat food, food produces energy for mind and for the body. So when we eat food, first it becomes juice, and then it becomes blood, and then it becomes muscles, and then it goes out to the bone marrow, and then it creates the sexual fluid. So when someone is incarnated and there is a mental disease or a mental disturbance in their DNA to have when they come back in a new body, mom and dad has a very low quality of sexual fluid and a low quality of energy in the bone marrow, which is connected to the air element, which then produces a disturbed mind for the baby that comes. So we can always find a why people are going through stuff. Okay? There is a past life, and the 3 past lives are the ones that are connected to who you are this time. And there are 7 generations, both on the mom and dad sides, which are carrying out this karma that you are going through. So if you start to do spiritual practice, your kids are doing it and their kids are doing it, you can erase all negative karma in your generation forever. That means that the future generation will only produce high-level spiritual children with no negative karma whatsoever. So karma comes in the form, negative karma comes in the form of bad health, poor money, bad relationships, can comes in what we call bad luck. You know, things are happening to us. It can comes in a very, very low unconscious form. I will tell you one thing. Most people are not living above the navel center. The energy is still so stuck that it can't move above the navel center. So this is something we need to work with, because we need the energy to move up to the heart, to fully activate the heart, and then throat and up here, because all the spiritual energy is from the throat and up. Swami, my master, he had a master that he was learning from, and his name was Ashanangri, and he told him that hell is here and down, and heaven is from here and up. So he was only talking about from this place and up. So this is why I teach a lot of techniques, how to move energy in the nervous system, so we can activate different parts. We can activate and purify the throat. We can activate our intelligence, our memory, our willpower, and the third eye. Because we can see that in different countries and traditions, when people get old, for example, where I'm from and many of you from Sweden, when people become 70, 80, there is a very high level of Alzheimer's, memory loss, Parkinson's, and so on. And they are also related to what element? Air element. And how is the weather here? It's not always sunny, right? And how is the food here and has been? Not always the highest level of pranic vibration in the food. So living in a lifetime with this creates those things, those diseases. So I want each one of you to become super healthy, to have a super health. So you never become tired. You're always in a high level of vibration. And there are certain type of exercises to do this. So today we need to focus on mind a little bit. So I have shown many of you this exercise before, but many are new and many new people will see this replay. So what we need to do, because I have now developed my lungs completely. I can store 3 liters of air in my lungs. I can go out and run several hundred meters without having my breath changed at all. I had an example a few weeks ago. Me and my family were going to we're going to check our baby in this, doctor thing when they check the baby when they are small. I don't know the English name of it. Doesn't matter. But they went a little bit ahead of me. So they were like 300-400 meters in front of me. So I have not been running for many, many years. So I just started to run to catch them up. So I ran for like in a very high tempo for like 300-400 meters. And when I met my family there, I was like I am now. My breath has not changed. And this is due to this exercise. So what we do is we just push the breath out of our nose. So hands need to be up like this. Mouth needs to be closed. And the pressure should be in the nose, not in the arms. Arms I used to have here, like, I've taught this so many times and see many people, like this. Have the pressure in the nose. All the pressure should be in the nose. It's like you're having 2 mosquitoes in the nose, right? And you push them out. So this exercise can bring some water coming out of the nose, so you can be aware with some paper if you do it early in the morning. So this creates something called prana. We have 5 types of prana. And this prana goes into the brain and into the nervous system and into the lungs. So when we create prana, we create it within the oxygen. So within the oxygen, there is prana. Okay, so every time you breathe in, you're also breathing in new prana. And new prana is, as I told you, life force energy. So every time you breathe in, and let's say you have a very, very poor breathing, very poor oxygen, very low level of prana. But with this exercise, you're going to expand your lungs and you're going to be able to breathe in more purified prana. So prana comes in the form of physical energy and it comes into the form of spiritual energy. Okay, so this, by taking care of the physical body, it will then give you a spiritual benefit. Are you following me? So sometimes you wake up and you feel very, very heavy. It's like those dark clouds are in the mind. You don't want to go up at bed. You're very slow. Sometimes it happens. This state is a dull state. It's called a Thomasic state of mind. By this, you are starting to move. It's like you're standing down on earth with a big, big cycle pump. And it's pushing out air into those gray, dark clouds, and they slowly, slowly start to evaporate and open up. So this is something I highly encourage you to do when you feel like your mind is very, very slow and very hard on you. Do this exercise. And when you do it on a daily basis, you're going to see some great changes in your breathing, in your energy level, and in your mind. Because as I told you a few weeks ago when I was live on Facebook, it is that they are controlling us today also with mind. Okay, they are controlling us today, not only but what you are searching on, they're also controlling you with what you're thinking on. Okay, because this is something that I have experienced. So I would suggest that if you are new to this breathing techniques, that you start with a set of 3 times 8. So we do 8. And then we relax and we just watch the breath. You can do this in a standing position and you can do it in a sitting position. Okay? I do it in the morning when I sit, but you can also do it when you stand up. Okay? I do now 500 of those every morning. Okay, so I go down, I lock myself in the bathroom so I don't wake anyone up. And I start to produce a lot of energy. So I do 500, so 500 times 30, it's 15,000 of those pranayamas every month. Okay. So when I started this, I started by 3 times 8 for 2.5 years ago. So what I want you to do is you start by 3 times 8. And when you feel like you have developed enough, well, let's say you are an athlete, you are a swimmer, a football player, you may already have a certain kind of development here. Then you can move on and do more. 3 times 20, 3 times 30, or something like this. So I'm just going to mute there. Yeah. So start by 3 times 8. Okay. And let me go back to what I just started to talk about. So many times I have noticed, because I have I have a big control over my mind and my thoughts and what's going on in my mind. And a few times I have noticed that thoughts are being pushed inside of my mind, which are not my thoughts. But they are coming into my mind and I am observing them. And what happened later is that I can see a Facebook or an Instagram ad with that particular thought. Are you following me? So this is how they can manipulate our minds today. So when I started to talk about those things, Facebook has now shut me down in a way that no one, I know I changed my status to married, and 800 people were in and like it. Unbelievable. Fantastic. Thankful for people showing love. But the same day and the day after, I posted something that there was no like. I was not even available to share my post. So this is how they do when you start to talk about things that can, and this we have known for a few years now, especially since this Corona thing happens, that so many people are being shut down, even doctors and, high-level people who are talking about the truth. So when I start to talk about more of those things, I noticed that I got shut down. I was not welcomed to do that. So that's why I started this Telegram group, to be able to express myself fully with my experience, to help everyone who are interested in spiritual development and how we can create a great future for the world. So this is not, I don't say those things to scare people up. I say those things to put an awareness. And when we have an awareness of our mind and our sound, I used to say this now, sound signature and our essence of energy, we know our thoughts, we know our mind, we know our energy. And when something pops in, it can be another energy, something that comes in a form of thought or a form of emotion or feeling. We know this is not me. This is not my energy. What's going on now? Because sometimes you can be in a very good state, right? And all of a sudden you feel drained, tired, exhausted. You start to think negative thoughts. From where? Where did it come from? Did it come from your husband, your wife, your mom, or where did it come from? This you have to know. This type of awareness, you have to know that your intuition is like, boom, on point. And this happens when the higher mind gets activated. So the lower mind will keep you in fear, in doubt, in anxiety, in attachment. And the higher mind will put you into concentration, into intuition, and into detachment. Okay? So some of you are born with many gifts of healing, of clairvoyance, of sensing other people's energies. And some of you are born with a very great intuition. But what you can notice is that the intuition is not there all the time, right? Intuition is there, and the next day you may be in doubt. So this has to do with this part is not fully developed. Okay? And when you spend your energy in helping others, in form of healing, in form of guidance, in form of anything, you're using your intuition, but your energy level is not totally there, that you have unlimited amount of energy. So that energy gets spent. You spend that amount of energy with your intuition. And the next day, you don't have enough energy. So the low vibration that comes now in the form of your pattern of subconscious mind and influences around, put you down in doubt. So you start doubting yourself. Oh, I'm not so good. I'm not good enough. This is too hard for me to do. I don't trust myself. Da 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 da. So this goes into, when you start to do this, you raise your energy level. When you're raising your energy level, that means that the reserve energy that will be in the navel center will be higher. So the normal human being has between 3 to 10,000 voltage of pranic energy in the navel center stored. Okay? 3 to 10,000 units of energy. All the time when something emotional comes, which are very often, they carries a voltage of 10,000 energies, volt of energy. That means that all the time you go below zero or at zero. So you become very affected. The energy level goes down. And then you need to build this energy up for a few days, maybe a few months, a few years sometimes. But if you would have 30,000, 50,000, 100,000 voltage of energy, when 10,000 comes, you're like unaffected of it. So this is also a part of when attachments start to melt off. Because you become very, very attached depending on your past and depending on the level of your fire in the navel. So fire takes care of digestion, both for the food and for your emotions. So when something very emotional happens, it's first affected into the heart, right? Something happened to your mom, or you split up with the person you love and live with. That's a heart thing. Then you have small things, with your spouse that you're nagging about, the dishwashers or whatever. That's just a small emotional thing that goes directly into the navel. So also when we have low energy in the heart center, it's going to be very hard for us to accept, forgive with compassion. And I see so many people today are struggling with acceptance, to totally accept and to forgive. Sometimes we are in a relationship which can be very abusive. So we have not totally accepted everything. So one part of us are like there, we give, right? And then you get bombarded with bullshit. It may hit you, it may talk bad words to you. So you have not totally stand in your opinion, and you have not seen like, okay, I need to accept exactly how this person is behaving, right? But if you have accepted this, I know she and he acts like this. So now I know the lowest level of him or her, so I don't expect anything else. But now you have expectations because you have been acting so nice, but the person may be of a narcissistic energy, or maybe psychopath, or may just be very, very full of anger and problems. So he points that back at you. but you have not accepted totally. You had expectations, so boom, you become sad again. And this goes on in a bad, bad circle. So we have to understand our energy and what is okay and what is not okay in our relations that are close to us and in the relations without the world. That we can see today in the world, so many people are not okay with what's going on and what has been going on for the last soon 2 years. So people become frustrated. They are demonstrating, they are doing things to trying to change up what's going on. And I'm going to tell you one thing, all this Corona situation is just a trigger for something new that is coming to come in. It's just a trigger to move energy. Okay? So don't be too caught up in all the details because there is so much information today from this side and from that side. And that is also part of the plan to keep people unfocused of ourselves and to have me against you, you against me. This is called duality, and duality is mind. Duality is mind. So you can always notice when you are not totally stabilized and you go like this. It's duality, it's mind. Intuition knows. Mind don't know. Mind's confused. Sometimes I remember a few years back, I was having this intuitive test with myself. So I was just like, I was living in Oslo. So some days I just took a walk, so I went down to the city. So I tapped into the environment and I could sense how the environment was on different places in town. So I was like, okay, now let's put on my intuition and just let myself be guided in what direction to walk all the time. So it was like this. Now you need to go to the right. Walking, observing. Now you need to go to the left. So I was walking around like this for a few hours just by training my mind, training my intuition. So this is something you can do. And then you can see, if you just follow this, okay, now it's this, now it's that. Then you get a certain kind of training to understand when you are in your intuition. And then when you are not, you notice, boom, 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 boom. And when you choose not to listen to your intuition, there is always something unpleasant that is happening. Haven't you noticed this? Oh, I should have listened. I know this. I should have trust my gut feeling with this. I know that something was up. I know that this has happened to every one of us sometimes, right? Please always listen to this. This is the true thing that you need to listen to. And this is only within you. No matter what I say or someone else say, listen to this always. So I will tell you one thing that can also blow up the mind a little bit to understand is that we have a willpower which is on a very low level often. So all of us have been learned and we have experienced. So we have something called a conditioning. And this conditioning can be very, very strong in form of behavior patterns, in form of desire. There can be desire for food. There can be desire for sex. There can be desire for drugs, alcohol, nicotine, whatever the case may be. The conditioning of, let's say, an emotional struggle or something very traumatic triggers something that makes us go into all those things. You know, we can be a very, very negative sexual behavior. It can be that we start to drink alcohol, smoking weed, taking other types of substances, which can be very, very harmful for us, or just eating when we are emotional. So what is happening here is that your conditioning is stronger than the willpower from your mind. But when the willpower from your mind becomes strong, you can start to control this. And when your consciousness becomes pure, you can automatically stop all negative behaviors. So when the willpower is there, when the consciousness is pure, you can stop any type of mind manipulation, like this. Okay? So an impure consciousness is a consciousness in fear, for example. So when I met my master, I went because I wanted to ask him one thing, because he said many things and I have been studying many masters, many books, and so on. So my question was, because there is a master out there, he's called Moji, and he's a spiritual enlightened master. So I wanted to ask Swami, what is the difference in his enlightenment and the enlightenment of a Kriya Yoga master? Just when I went close to him, he said, your consciousness is not pure. Stop reading books out very, very loud into like 80, 100 people. Just to like kill me a little bit, yeah? And put me into the right path. So what I did, I haven't put up a book since, and I have done the practice. So I have purified my consciousness, and I can now understand what a pure consciousness is. I can now understand what's in those books. Okay, because I have had that inner experience now by myself. So I can read the Bible, I can read the Quran, I can read all the holy scriptures and all the books about this and that, and I can totally understand it. But before, there will just be another programming, which is not totally true yet. I can just talk from it, you know? Like when I started to doing live in like 2000 and I think it was 16 or something, I was looking in a book and I was like, oh, this concept is cool. Let's talk about this, you know, the self or awareness or whatever. And then I started to talk about it. And then I realized that this is just blah, 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 blah. It's not something coming from my own experience. So by experienced more and more and more, I started to talk out of mind, beyond mind. So since then, I have never, ever written down any class, course, or whatsoever. Just going in and the energy is do what it needs to do. So when we do this exercise, we will move a lot of energy up into the brain, and it will purify the mind. And it will bring a lot of energy into the lungs. So now I want to give you a more advanced exercise. Even if you are new, you can do this, because I want you to have a good, strong willpower. So this you do in an exercise of 5 breaths or 10, depending on your capacity. So it's very easy. And all those techniques are coming from, let's see here, we mute this. We just mute this so you guys can talk. And so all those exercises are coming from the Kriya Yoga lineage. They're many thousands years old. And many of you may know the Mahavatar Babaji, and his real name is Triambaknath. And he was the master of Lahiri Masaya. So all those techniques that Lahiri Masaya then was initiated into was for people like us who are having families, with kids, married life, having a job. So what I'm teaching here is things that we all can do. We don't have to be an advanced yogi sitting by ourselves naked in the jungle. We can have like a normal life. You can see my life. I have 3 kids. I have family. I'm married. I have a lot of things going on, and I'm doing this practice. So what we do here is that we put our head back like this. So you put your head back like that, and you're looking into the roof. Mouth is closed, and attention is in the medulla. So the medulla is, we have this head, you know, this skeleton head, and just below it, there is this point. And this point goes straight into the third eye. So when we can activate the medulla completely, we can hold unlimited amount of energy. So what we do is we put our head back, we had attention in the medulla, and we breathe out. Head comes back, and you keep on holding the attention in the medulla. Here you sit for a minute or so, and then you repeat. And this you do in a set. You do this 3 to 5 times every day. And this will develop the willpower. So you can start to have a stronger mind to take care of all the unnecessary desires and negative behaviors and all the things that are boring. There's so many things that are boring sometimes, right? So I told my son this. I asked him, how many classes you have in school that are like boring? And he was telling me like, yeah, those 2 are boring. Then I told him, yeah, you need to do this 3 times, you know, to go past that, because we need to learn how to do boring things with a very, very devotional behavior, right? Because if we are going in there with resisting, oh, this is so fucking boring, you know, this energy, then you're not enjoying yourself. You're not enjoying the moment. You need to be able to enjoy every moment. Okay? So by the willpower, you can learn how to do stupid fucking boring things also and enjoy it. Okay? So what you have to do is head back, mouth closed, eyes open, looking into the roof, and then you do 5 or 10 breaths. You will notice if you're like not able to breathe more than 5, they will be very, very unpowerful breaths. Then you start with 5. When you have done this for 3 months, I'm sure you can do 10. Okay, so those are 2 exercises for you to help you to develop the mind now. And this, all I ask for is that you do it on a daily basis. That's all that is required. If you start to do it on a daily basis, you will see some great results. If you do it once a week, once a month, go fuck yourself. Nothing will happen. Okay? Nothing will happen. So I will see here. Do you recommend the breathing exercise before meditation, or anytime can be good? Anytime can be good, Christina. But yeah, how I do my practice is that I start with the physical part of the exercises. Then I move into the exercises for the nervous system, which this is one of them, which I just show you. And then I move into mantras and meditation. So I have like 3 parts. First, the physical part, then is relaxation. Then is the part for the nervous system. then relaxation, and then is mantra and meditation. And then I'm finished. It's like if we look into the young Shaolin monks or the military, they go up very early, right? With a lot of discipline, and they start to do hard things right away. Yeah. This is the thing. If we start with the most unpleasant thing, then we learn to get discipline. Then we go into another type of mastery with ourselves. If you can go up 6 o'clock in the morning, 5 o'clock, 4 o'clock, and do your practice, then the regular mundane things which are boring would be very easy to handle. Right? You have a few hours of sleep with the kids all over you. When you go up early, you do the hard thing. Then when certain things happen in the daytime, you're like, what is this? It's nothing. So this is my recommendation. You may have a practice from before, from some other teacher or something that you have learned. Do the physical part first and then go slowly, so you're coming to and finish out with the meditation. Because if you start with the meditation, it can be very hard because sometimes you can go into deep state of meditation. And when you go there, it's not so easy to go into physical exercises. You just want to stay in this great peaceful vibration. You're not so interested in doing push-ups or doing other things. So that's why I do it in this way. So this is exactly what I have been taught from my master that I'm now sharing with you guys, that you can start to do if you feel called for it. So if we can master the physical body, if we can master the mental part, and if we can become emotional developed, then everything is very open for you to go into higher states in your spiritual evolution. Sometimes we have to think about money and all these things. And this makes mind busy, and it makes meditation in a place where there may be no meditation at all, or it may be very difficult to meditate. Because in the back of your head, there is thoughts about where will the money come from? How should I do this? How should I do that? And this has to do with the earth element. So the earth element is responsible for money, your relationship with money. Okay? If the earth element is fully activated, there will always be enough money for everything that you need. Money will just come. So now we needed a retreat center, and someone put up like 700,000 euros because that's what was needed for us to get into that place. And that is because our earth element is fully activated. But when we were in Spain for 3 years ago, we're looking for places. We have one woman coming from Sweden wanted to invest with us. We had lawyers, all the things, but nothing happened because we were not developed, and the time and destiny was not totally correct, in line with what was going to happen. Are you following me? So you can have a look at your life. Is there a struggle for money? Is there a struggle for job? Is there a struggle for somewhere to live or stay? Then it has to do with the earth element. So further on in the deeper teachings, I will give a mantra for this to activate the earth element. Okay, this will come later. So we can balance those energy, because we should not have economic problem. Money should be there. So we can take care of business with the house, what the family needs, how we want to manifest, what we want to do in life. There should not be a question about it. So this we need to activate, all of us. Doesn't need to be a millionaire. Just so you can have enough to do what you want to do and love to do, right? So let's see here. I find it hard sometimes to know when I actually need to take a break in my practice, or is it just a lazy mood and Mr. Thomasic visiting? Yeah, so take a break in the practice. I notice, I told you when you have been to my class, Pia, about doing the physical part, then you take a break. Is this what you mean in taking a break? Or do you mean like you're doing it every day? Yeah. If you want to, you can talk. Do you want to talk so I can hear you? Or you want to write? So I unmuted you, so you can talk if you like to. It's easier to communicate. Yeah. Yes.
That's what I mean. Sometimes I need to take a break. Like I can't do it, let's say 7 days in a row.
Mm-hmm.
Because it stirs a lot of things up, and
I understand. Yeah. So when you notice this, you notice, oh, I need to take a break, right?
Mm.
And what we have to do then is we have to do the most important parts. And the most important part would always be meditation and mantra.
Mm. So some days I could just do the meditation and mantra.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because when we do things against our will, so to say, you will not have any benefit anyway. You're sitting there and you're bored the fuck out and you have no energy and you just need to rest. And sometimes we have to see, like sometimes, some people come to me sometimes and I can tell them, you should not do anything. You should just sleep and take rest for 3 months. Then you can come back.
Mm.
I understand. So we should not come into this place that this should be like, oh, I need to do this, and you push yourself, because it's not about this. It's about following the energy. And sometimes when we do this practice, it creates a lot of energy. And sometimes we have noticed that we are shaking. Sometimes we have been in a meditation into some kind of session that we are shaking. The body is like, oh, yeah. And this has to do that too much energy has been put into one of our 5 elements. So then the body starts to shake. And if you are with an unexperienced teacher, he or she doesn't know how to regulate this. Mm. So the master always has to have a look over the students and see, okay, now this is too much energy. I need to slow it down. And this you have to master yourself with yourself. When you see that now I have created too much volts or too much energy in my nervous system, I need to slow down. So what you can also do is that you do lesser. Instead of doing a set of 3, you can do a set of 1. Mm. Instead of 3 times 8, you can do 1 time of 8. Mm. Because that's good. It has to do with that your nervous system has to be attuned to the energy. Otherwise, it will create more fire, and this will burn out the nervous system. So you will become more tired, and it will create a tension in the mind, which makes you not clear. It will create a lot of confusion, and you will not be in peace, so to say. So this we have to understand. We have to know our limit. Know our limit. And when it comes to practice of yoga, it's enough to do half. But I know many of you, just like me, I played football for 15 years. It's like I'm going to do the last drop. I'm going to push myself, I run this extra thing. I'm going to push myself into the gym, Yoga is something else. There is enough with half. Because when you develop yourself, you can activate more and more and more. So you will come longer and you will hold longer. That's why so many people who are doing yogas, they can be very old. I have one of my master, I know one through my master who is today 250 years old. He's living. today. It's 250 years old. Did you hear that? 250 years old. So we are designed to live at least 120 years. So breath means life. So I will go deeper into that another time, how we can expand our life. It's called Kaya Kalpa, how we can rejuvenate everything, become very, very young and live for a very long time. So by answering your question again, learn yourself. When there is too much heat in the nervous system, what we can do is we can buy this ashwagandha powder. We can put it into some vegan milk with honey and drink. It's very good. Or you can buy almond oil. Take 1 spoon of this in the morning and in the evening. And you can go to the shower and you can put ice cold water from the knees and down. Or you can put your feet into a bucket of ice cold water and sit there for 25 minutes. And all you guys there with essential oils, you can put some nice blend of oils into that bucket as well. And you sit there for 25 minutes. So what will happen then is that the overheated nervous system, the energy will go down to the navel center and then down into the water. So this will help to cool down the nervous system, because I know many people today are too active in mind. It's like the most common thing, too active or too slow. There is never this total peace and concentration all the time. It's very uncommon. It comes and it goes, but it's not there all the time. So this is something you guys can do to calm down the nervous system. It's very, very helpful. Because an overheated nervous system means a very active mind. So we have a lot of thoughts, and thoughts are moving in a very high speed. Boom, 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 bombarding us. I'm going to tell you one thing. This winter, I was attacked by a guy which I was in contact with for a few years ago. And he was doing this, we can call it the black magic thing. So what he did was he was sending negative things to me. So one day I noticed that I have so many thoughts in my mind. I was going crazy. And I haven't noticed this. I could not even remember when it was so intense in my mind. And same day, I was like apathic. I was going there with my wife and daughter. And I was just looking down in the street. I was just walking and I was super depressed. I didn't want to live. I could not even talk. My daughter wanted to hold me in my hand and I could not even put my hand up. So I said to Laila that something very strange is going on. This is not me. This is something someone is putting on me. So then I went back, and in the evening, I started to doing a process of releasing this. And then I could see this guy coming up, and I could see that he was putting some kind of spider on me. And what happened later when I released him, I went down, and then I saw this big spider running on the floor. So I noticed like, okay, I was on the right track. And then I put it out and I released the guy. And then my mind was back and I felt normal again. So sometimes there are also dark forces in the universe, negative people saying and thinking negatively about you, and it can affect you. Okay? So this I want you to know, to always notice that it's not always your fault that you are in a bad vibe. Sometimes it can be something else. But by learning your own energy, you can start to notice this when it's happening. Because we have 5 elements, and the ether element, the space, the plasmic energy here, when this is not fully active, or developed, it's very easy to come in. It's very easy for you to become when you are affected of other people's energies. You know, many of us are very, very sensitive to energies, right? But sometimes we become drained. We call them energy thieves. But you are just a kind woman or guy letting them in. By developing the ether element, you're closing the door. You will not longer become affected of negative energies. You can sense it, but you will not be affected. Okay, so over and over again, go back to your own energy so you know as soon as something's not, because some things like this can go on for a long, long time. Many people who have been into drug addictions, alcohol addictions, they are targets for entities, for dark entities. We can see so many people today that are living on the streets, they are alcoholics, they are drug addicts. They have been possessed, many of them, of dark entities, which they have not been able to pull out. And then they cannot come out of that negative situation. So that's why it's important to know your energy. So yes, and in the same way we affect others with how we think about them, stay in love. Yes, very good. Very important. So especially when you become more and more developed, your power, your words, your thoughts become more and more stronger as you develop yourself. So always be very careful with what you think. It was like one my master told me once. He said, a normal person thinks in one way and a spiritual person thinks in another way. A spiritual person has to be very careful with what he or she thinks, because that can be manifested very quickly. Normal person, it's the opposite. You know? So that's why when you develop yourself more and more and more, you have to be very, very careful with what you think, because it has such a huge, great impact. Okay. So I will now stop my talking for today. I'm now opening up for each one of you. If anyone has a question, something you want to talk about, share right now, you can do it. You can do it in the chat or you can talk. So if there's anyone having anything that you need to talk about, please let me know. Then we can work with it, or you can share if you have something on mind. Thank you. It can be something I talked about tonight or anything else. Thank you for a lovely session. Now I'm really tired and need to sleep. Okay, good night and have a lovely evening, my traveling friends. See you in Spain very soon. Huh? Take care, guys. Good night. All right, I see Thomas. Welcome. Nice to see you here. I dropped in a little bit later. No worries. Nice to see you here. So, yeah, anyone has anything you want to talk about, please let me know. So to catch you up, Thomas, we have been talking about mind today, sharing some exercises about the mind, how to notice the mind, develop the mind, intuition, and a lot of things. So the replay, I will put up the replay every time on the website, so you can go and check the training in your time when you are ready. Yeah. So no more questions. askings, sharings today? I want to thank each one of you for showing up and sharing the energy. It's very beautiful to do this. And please invite people to the Telegram group that you think would like to benefit of this. I will do this a couple of times every month. I will do this free trainings when I will go and train you guys from the bottom to the highest level. So you are welcome to join anytime and watch the replay. There will be a lot of value in those sessions for you to go through. So no questions, no sharing. So I think I will call this an end today. So thank you for sharing your knowledge. Thank you for tonight. Yes, thank you. Thomas is in the bed here. Enjoying life. It's very good. So I see someone maybe typing something. Yeah. So my plan is to have this on Wednesdays. So next Wednesday will be another webinar where I will be holding in a certain topic. And then the Wednesday after this, we will do the free ones. So there will be like these paid webinars where it costs 12 euros to join, where we'll have a certain topic, and then will be the free ones. So there will be like 4 sessions every month for you to tap into. So this, you know, and now we will move to Spain. So everyone are welcome to come and join us there if you need some sun, some watermelon, and some good vibration. You're very welcome. So yeah. So thank you guys once again for showing up, taking your time to tap into the alchemy of transformation. Okay. God bless you all. Thank you so much. Goodbye. Thank you. Bye.